What's up, everybody? This is Jim with Taller Driver Car Reviews, and today I am test driving the Tesla Cybertruck. And I gotta tell you, I've seen it on the road, and this is the first time I've had a chance to look at it up close, because I know that this vehicle gets a lot of attention on the roads, and I'm checking the the sliciness of that edge there, and so I don't generally want to bother owners in terms of asking them a bunch of questions, because I get enough questions with my Model 3. However, this is a taller driver car review, and so this is about how suitable this vehicle is for taller drivers, and what are the little quirks and whatnot. So, first of all, getting in is super easy, very easy. My first impression getting in is this is angular. I'm 6'5" tall, and I immediately noticed some edges here that when I sit like I do, like I got a pair, there's obstructions. It's a big vehicle, and when this first was announced, it was announced with a middle seat and basically a bench seat, and I was super excited. Because it's been years since I've been able to drive with my leg like this, and it's still not it's not possible. I mean, I can drive with it like that, but that's an awkward angle. And so, one thing that FSD is helpful with, and I don't know if you can see there we go. So, I like to sit square when I'm driving down the road. You got the foot position there to where you can sort of brace yourself. But if you're going on long trips, and this car is built for long trips, I really wish I could slide my foot over to be equal to that, so I could sit square in the seat for long distances. But because I've tried it already in my 2019 Model 3, that it's hard to rest your foot on the accelerator while you're going down the highway without accelerating. Right? That's square. And if I could just slide it to the right a little bit there, to just rest it while FSD is in place, FSD is working, letting the car drive for me, and then I could just sit back and relax. That's not how this car is built. It's not built to do that. The steering wheel, even though in this vehicle with FSD, and I couldn't imagine owning this vehicle without paying for FSD each month, even with FSD, there are times when I will take over because I don't like the direction FSD is going to take me. Right? I like to avoid stoplights, as many right turns as possible without stoplights, because it drives me up the wall to sit at a stoplight that's red and there are no cars coming. So I try to avoid stoplights altogether. Just one of my little idiosyncrasies. But here we are. So I would prefer to have the steering wheel a little closer to me, but it's extended as far out as possible. Yeah, so I can still, so I'm seated all the way back. The seat is not extended all the way back. There we go. Okay, so it's all the way to the full stop to the back. My head is against the headrest and are almost straight. I'm not reclining too much because I don't like to ride leaning back too much. That's just me. So my seat is pretty much straight up and down, as you can see. And my arm is only slightly bent. I prefer a little more bend when I'm seated comfortably. Hopefully that makes sense. So the only vehicle I've seen where I can have the seat back as far as I need it at 6'5" and the steering wheel close to me as comfortable as possible is the Dodge Journey, of all things. They don't make them anymore, but the steering wheel comes way out and it's a very comfortable seating position. This, not so much. So that's where I am right now. Again, I wish there were some way to adjust this center console, even just to slide it back. There's enough room, you know? And so that's just an annoyance to be there. And I could sit fairly comfortably like this if that weren't there. That doesn't seem very sharp, right? But over time, it starts creating a bruise or what have you. And I noticed these little things like this when, right after I got my Model 3, I drove up to North Carolina from Northwest Florida, and then soon thereafter drove from Northwest Florida to Salt Lake City, Utah. And these cars will do that, no problem. No problem. I had no problem with charging, and I know that this video is not about charging and Tesla as a company and yada yada yada, but what I ended up noticing was this started really repetitive, like on my elbow. My elbow kept hitting that. I kept hitting it when I was getting in and out of the car because of where my seating position is. I have since discovered that as you're getting out, you can have like a, I don't know what they call it off the top of my head, but it's once you put it in park and then open the door, the seat will start to rise and kind of help you get out. I'm 57, so that's more and more appreciated in such a low-slung vehicle as the Model 3. I don't think it'd be an issue with this vehicle, mainly because it's just so easy to get in and out of. It's probably one of the easier vehicles that I've experienced. If anything, that will get a lot of wear and tear over time, but still not difficult to get in and out of, and I don't recall hitting that. I don't think that's going to be an issue. See there? But on my Model 3, yeah, maybe, but not as much as on the Model 3. That is worn off. There's like a wear mark right there on my Model 3. But so if I sit like this, it's no problem for the most part. But I can imagine over long trips, that doesn't seem sharp, right? But this is not a long-term comfortable seating position. Does that make sense? I hope. After a while, even though that's kind of padded, the constant pressure of a long road trip would start. That's not too bad actually, but that part right there, it's not sharp, right? But over time that starts to get tender, frankly, and that's what happened on my road trip to Salt Lake City. So the various seating positions, that is not a problem. If I rested it and it doesn't fall to that, but over time that right there can and will become a pressure point on the side of my leg. Same here. I'm not going to be keeping my foot on the accelerator on long trips. I'm going to be using FSD for that, full self-driving, right? But look where my ankle is. It's canted, even if it's resting on the accelerator pedal. That is not a comfortable position for it to be in for long trips. And I drive these cars. I bought my Model 3 in September of last year. So that's what? So 9 months. 8-9 months. I've already put almost 20,000 miles on it. So I drive these cars to drive, man. And I put some miles on it. So headroom for taller drivers, no problemo. But I've got plenty of headroom. And the seat, I don't know if it's at the, at the highest position. I would never drive with the seat this high. But with the seat this high, surprisingly, I'm right up against it. So if I have to brake suddenly, that could be a problem. I'm really surprised actually. I didn't expect that. And I wasn't aware of this in any of the previous reviews I've seen. But I suppose, something has to be there. But yeah, I mean, the restraint will hold me. But that could be a problem. Wow, I didn't expect that. So that's at the highest. I can't raise the seat any. What? Wait a minute. That's okay. Yeah, that's the highest seating position. I couldn't imagine anybody driving down the road like this, but like if their legs are super long, they might need that higher seating position. And in which case they'd have to recline back. And then if they want to drive, the steering wheel, like I said, is at its furthest extension toward the driver in this position. Let me see if I can adjust it any more. Controls, with mirrors, where's the steering wheel? Ride height, car lock, plug box. Oh, steering wheel. There we go. Alright, so out. In. Okay? So out. That's as far out as it gets. So if you're that tall that you have to recline back and have the seat at its top position. Y'all, this is just on the fly review because I don't. Okay, that's as far back as it goes. And that's the steering wheel. I suppose if you're taller than me, 7 feet or whatever, or what have you, you know, your legs would be out like this. In which case, that would be an issue. Again, I don't think there's any way to move it. I could be wrong. Like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has a movable center console where you can slide it back. If there's no one in the back seat, you can I can't remember if it was an automatic, like a powered slide thing, or whether it's just a release latch slide thing, but that makes a lot of sense to me. And the Nissan Aria might also be that way, but that to me, again, makes a lot of sense. So let's drive.